We are going to. I was just about to say we are going to record this so that we can share it with the clubs that aren't here and anyone else that wants to share it with their committee or just rewatch it. So as long as you're okay with that, we just need you to know that it is being recorded. Okay. So standards of deployment then. We're all responsible for creating a safer culture and environment for paddlers and recognise our roles within our sport. We do recognise the great work that all the club volunteers do to ensure paddle sport is safe. It's not unnoticed the few paddling incidents we have within our clubs. That isn't, this isn't about there's lots of incidents, so this is so that we can keep it that way. So we do appreciate that. We are grateful for that. We do know you're all doing a great job. In collaboration with partners and key stakeholders, we launched the Safer strategy, the Safer Together campaign in October 2023, which set out the vision for safer paddling and the actions needed to achieve this. Across the last few years, we've seen a range of reports into safety and safeguarding in sport, including the Haverfordwest incident, the White Report, and the recent coroner's report into the tragic death of a scout on the Great Orme. And that's where this has all come from. Safety is an integral part of the process for protecting children and adults from harm and providing a safe space in which to paddle and be active. Safeguarding means protecting people's health, well-being and human rights and enabling them to live free from harm, abuse and neglect. It's important to know that other national governing bodies of other sports are also going through a similar process. We are all working together to try and identify any problems and learn examples and good practice from each other carried out. So this isn't a paddle sport own thing. This is something that's going through all governing bodies. People that take part in activities led by coaches or others need assurance that their leaders or coaches have the skills, knowledge and experience to allow the activity to be safe, enjoyable and purposeful. We want to make sure that volunteers and coaches and all leaders that are leading paddling activities are competent, and to do so, this policy outlines the minimum standards and requires for coaches and leaders. So I'm just going to start to go through some of the specifics with you. This is the first bit, is the club level requirements. Okay, so we ask you to upload your documents to Just Go. Depends whether that's your role within the club, but the things we ask for are your club constitution, the club child protection safety guarding policy, a generic risk assessment, a standard operating procedure, a health and safety policy, and then a new equality policy. Okay, these need to be updated every 3 years. This is something that is massively lacking within most clubs, shall I say. There are templates for all of these apart from the equality policy, which is being written as we speak. You can find them all on our website under the club's help section. There have been a few changes, I think, to some of the templates. So if you're looking for something different, just have a look. Again, this list is the minimum standard. Some clubs have got more. They've got things that are more relevant to their club, but this is the minimum standard, okay? So in terms of time scale, so by the end of 2024, what we need is to everyone have been through their documents, check they're relevant, and change the date, okay? So we don't ask you to rewrite them every 3 years. We ask you to read them, check they're relevant, and just update the date to say, I've read it, it's all still fine, great.
Also, it's important to make sure that they are understood by the lead roles within the whole club. It's not just create them, put them there, and then forget about them. It's make sure that they're a part of the club structure.
So by the end of 2026, then, all these documents need to be available for club members, okay? So it's up to you where you do that, whether you send them out on a welcome email, whether you have them on a website. Not everyone's got websites, whether you have them pinned to the top of your Facebook page. They need to be readily available for all members to be able to see and read. It's useful if they can have a link to a live copy, because then obviously if you make adjustments and things like that, then they've always got the most up-to-date one. Okay, so then we've got the club specific roles, so the club committee roles. Okay, so all club committee members need to be attached to your Just Go profile with the title by the end of 2024. We do appreciate that you've all got amazing volunteers as it is, and we just need to make sure that they're recognised within the Just Go platform. Okay. So at the moment, we have required you to have a chair, a secretary, a treasurer, and a safeguarding officer listed. I think what's important to understand is one person could hold multiple roles. So we're not always saying that you need that many people. Some clubs do have people holding multiple roles. Okay, and then new for this policy is the safety officer. Okay, so we will talk about that a bit more. So we need a safety officer also in that list on your Just Go with the appropriate training. And then all committee members now need to have undertaken a minimum of the Paddle UK Introduction to Safeguarding training. Okay, and more advanced if working with children, but as a minimum, we talk a lot about as a minimum. So obviously if people have got more, that's great. Okay, so every club should have a safeguarding officer now. So this should be quite an easy one to get us to tick off. So safeguarding is a shared responsibility within the club, but the club safeguarding officer will take the lead on that within the club. Okay. It's really important that everybody in the club knows who the safeguarding officer is, so knows who to go to if they have an issue, because there's no point having a safeguarding officer but nobody knows who they are. Okay. So by the end of December 2024 then you need to have got your relevant safeguarding qualification up to date, and so a lot of this stuff will refer back to the policy. There's all the different levels you need for working with children or adults in need, adults at risk, sorry. So I haven't put everything on here, but we can revert back to the policy to see which one is relevant for us. So everybody needs to have their safeguarding training. They also need to have done the Paddle UK Code of Conduct training, a time to listen course, have a relevant criminal records check, and any club that doesn't have a safeguarding officer, which they should have already, must appoint one. So I think that's quite a straightforward one. It does look a bit wordy and a bit complicated, but it's something that we do anyway. So hopefully that's going to be a big tick in the box for every club already. Then the club safety officer is new. So the club safety officer takes a lead of safety matters in the club. It has a need for a greater level of training, understanding of risk assessments and safety management. These specific roles may vary between clubs, but in broad terms, they have a responsibility for those who attend club trips, competitions, or any river trips, anything that the club undertakes. Okay. So this person needs to have done the safety officer training, completed the risk assessment training, and the safety management training, and then done your minimum level of safeguarding training as well. So that is a new role. We know that some clubs have already got it. Whether they have done all those trainings, I'm not quite sure. But that's also a new role, but one that a lot of clubs have got anyway. And then we go to our trip organisers, team leaders, and other similar roles. Again, not every club will have every role either. So don't worry if you see things and you think, well, our club hasn't got one. Well, you don't always have to have, because some of the things in the policy are relevant for competition and that kind of thing as well, and not all clubs compete. So we're here to chat through any of those things with you if you're not sure. So again, safeguarding training and risk assessment and managing of the e-learning. So this is one that Andy and I have talked about quite a lot, and we think it's going to be one that comes up quite a lot. So this is a chaperone or the loco parentis. So this is an individual responsible for others in their care that would require some appropriate training. Okay, so this is anyone that's chaperoning anyone under 18 or an adult at risk. So this is, and what we mustn't forget is this is only within the club times. So if your club session is 6 till 8, then that is where this comes in. It's not about Freddie's mum bringing Freddie and Dave to paddling together, and therefore she needs to be a chaperone for Dave. That's not what this is. This is people on the water or within club activities taking that responsibility. So it could be if you're on a camping trip, someone's going to take be the chaperone or the loco parentis for kids, you know, but it's not, you know, I think it's quite easy to get carried away with this one and think it's for anyone, you know, that's taking people to and from activities and that kind of thing, and it's not. Okay, so again, safeguarding, your criminal record check, and I've completed the code of conduct training, which are all quite simple and straightforward. Okay, so this is where we go into our formal and informal paddle sport activities. Okay, so this is something that I know a few people have emailed in about. We didn't get loads of questions on our Google Forms, so unfortunately we can't answer many of them because we didn't get many. But these are a few, quite, you know, this has definitely come up in a few of the emails I've had or the conversations I've had with people. So your formal instructing, coaching or leading is where a session or activity is arranged for a specific focus and responsibility for instructing, coaches or leading of others. Those deploying or being deployed to deliver formal instruction, coaching and leadership should refer to the environmental definition document for appropriate qualifications and ratios. So that is a really good, that's not, I'm sorry, I've just noticed there's definitely grammar there. But there's definitely, that document is really good because we can't put every coaching qualification on there and every ratio. But this is talking about, you know, if we're going to go and do, we're going to go and do a river, but we're going to, you know, we're going to make sure we coach everyone all the way down, and we're going to do breaking in and breaking out, that kind of thing. So that's a formal instructed activity. And then informal. So informal paddle sport activity within the club or discipline may happen where there is not a focus or a formal instruction, coaching or leading of others. For such session, both safeguarding and first aid provisions must be provided with appropriate safety training and competency checks for those aiding facilitation. So this would be just, guys, we're going to go for a paddle A to B and we're going to get on and we're going to go do it. Okay, so it's quite a grey area in between. We appreciate that, and I believe a lot of club activities are a mixture of the two, and it might be that some participants are having the formal side of it, while some people are having an informal side of it. So it's something that I think we will probably dig deeper into at a later date. So I just wanted to bring our attention back to this because, again, another question I've had. So it's something we released last year, our peer paddle statement. So it's an activity where participants response. So it's an activity where a participant needs to believe that it's not a club activity. Okay, so we can say it's not, we can advertise it as not, but we need to make sure that those participants know this is not a club activity. Okay, so it's not a organised club activity and should not be advertised as a club activity. Okay, so you can advertise it, but you need to put peer paddle and you need to make sure everyone's aware of what it is. Okay, so to clear up confusion between the two, we suggest that clubs annotate on advertising for clubs activities. So formal activity, informal activity, peer paddle. So everybody then straight away knows what's what. Okay, and again, I think this peer paddle would be something that would be worth putting in your induction pack so that people that are new to paddling wouldn't really know what it means, so that we can just, we've got stuff to go. They did know, we've sent this out, you know. So for other activities, club may choose to promote the use of the term peer paddle throughout its membership for clubs activity, which is not an authorised club activity. So you can still promote it through your club means, as long as you make sure it's well advertised of what it is. So a club associate member would not be insured through Canoe Wales to do a pier paddle activity. So that's something I think is quite important. We need to make sure that they are on the water members if they are to take part in a pier paddle activity, or at least they know that they're not insured. Obviously, we'd rather than be on the water members. So likewise, if taking part in a pier paddle activity, you're doing so at your own risk. It's important for clubs, helps members to understand this, particularly those new to the sport. So that's what I just said, make sure it goes out in the induction. And then another question that I get asked is, what if I use club kit? So if you're using club kit on a pier paddle, you must check what is covered on insurance by checking your club constitution, okay? Because it should say in there what club kit is used for. So some clubs say it's fine, you can use it on a pier paddle, some don't. So you must just make sure that whatever you're doing follows your club constitution. You can change your club constitution, but you just make sure that whatever you're doing follows that club constitution. And that there's some prior agreement with the club that you're going to use it outside of club activity. And another question we've been asked, what is a deployer? Okay, so a deployer is anyone, paid or voluntary, who has the overall responsibility for the safety, ensuring safety framework is in place, training is documented, and that those supporting or leading paddle sports activities meet the standards of deployment. So, it'd be somebody that is overall going to be checking that that person that's being deployed as an instructor, they've checked that they have got all the right qualifications, bits of paper, and they're acting within their remit. It doesn't have to be one person, it could be lots of people in the club. It's not you don't need an individual deployer, it's just somebody that will be saying, okay, yeah, that's fine, they can go out, they can do their instructing. So the deployer can be the club. So okay, you'd need somebody in the club to say, yeah, they can go out, but the deployer's name can be the club. So this is where the bit Andy was brought up earlier. So this is where the deployer needs to make absolutely sure that every coach and instructor knows risk assessments, standard operating procedures, club constitutions, that this person would be responsible for making sure all of that is read, and the person understands that they need to follow that at all times.
The word I was looking for was adopted.
Oh, there we go.
By the relevant.
Now I've gone ahead and you flustered me. Right, hang on a minute. Sorry, I've gone ahead too far. So this, I'm not going to spend too much time dwelling on this, but I just want to make you aware of this. There is a link on our website for the document called Standards for Deployment Summary of Roles. It's just quite a good visual for looking at what you need in a specific role. I think it's quite good. I think it's quite easy to understand. So you've got a few there, and then some here. It's all in the document that is on our website. I just thought it's quite a good one to have a look at. So make sure that you look on the website, all the documents, because we know there's a lot.
I'm trying to put some of these links in the chat as well.
Okay, fab. So what are Canoe Wales going to do to support affiliated clubs? So we are planning on running regular webinars. We will be running them on topics that we're getting a lot of questions on. So we feel that if we're getting a lot of questions, a lot of people will want to know about that. So they will be more specific. Not like this one is just a generic one. We may just do a question and answers if lots of people have got questions. Again, if there's something you specifically want it on, please message and we will get that organised. So again, direct support when on request. I'm always happy to help and arrange one-to-one to discuss anything with a club. I'd love to come and visit clubs. So if anyone wants a visit from me, please give me a shout. We can sit around a table and have a chat and see what I can do to help you make a plan to make this happen. You know, this isn't something I want you to go away and do on your own. You know, I'm here to support you through it all, as is Andy, as is Kerry, as is the rest of the Canoe Wales team. So please let us do that. That is our job. So use us and let us support you through it. We've got the reporting system on Just Go. So there's an existing reporting tool available to Just Go to support the clubs to identify any gaps, to keep track of any training and manage your roles of members in the club. So again, I think that might be a useful one to run a webinar on, to show people how to find that information on Just Go, because I know some people do, but I think some people aren't aware. So I think that would probably be quite a useful one. The Go Paddling club dashboard we're finding really useful once people have got on, I appreciate. To the list, when you add your members down the left-hand side and it comes up with the 3 dots and it's really obvious. Yes, they've got safeguarding. Yes, their quals are up to date, their CPD's up to date, and their first aid's up to date. And it's a really easy, quick visual way of checking people are up to date and can go out. So again, if you need any support with that, again, please do get in touch. Okay, so for a limited time, so until the 1st of August, there's a 50% discount off the introductory safeguarding course and the risk assessment and risk management training on the Paddle UK website. The codes are in here. They're also in all the documents, and we can also email them to you. So somebody had a problem with this. So I think it's £30 if you are a non-member. It goes down to £10 if you're a member of the home nations. With this code, it should go down to £5. So it's not the £10. It does go down to £5. Okay, so make sure you get it at the right discounted price and don't pay over the odds for it. And then the event safety training course that needs to be done by some of the roles, we will be running that free of charge before all our road shows. So if you can attend that, please do. If not, we will look at running it again. It is something that we prefer to run in person and not online. So that's why we've tried to do it before the road shows, because they're spread around the country. And Jonathan from our performance team is one of the providers of that. So he's can come and do that for us, which is great. Sorry, I'm reading my notes here. So another thing is, I know some clubs are struggling. Some clubs have made some really, really good relationships with other clubs. So let us help facilitate that, you know. Let's get clubs working together to get through this, you know. It's worked really, really well with some clubs. I can't see any negatives with it. Sharing facilities, sharing coaches, sharing equipment, sharing members. I can't see any negatives with it. And then obviously do not forget that the Be Active Sports Grant is still available. We don't know how long it's going to last. So this is something that they are really keen to, because they know that this is coming in, they're really keen to pay for the coaching quals. So get your grants in. I'll support you with that so we can get all the coaching qualifications that are needed paid for. Okay. It's there, let's use it, you know. We are going to be putting together some of the grants that people can apply for, because I know that there's different grants in different areas. So it's something I'm going to work on and send round to you all. But I know off the top of my head, there's things like Magic Little Grants, which will, you know, £500. It's just a standard £500. So anything like that, get applying for it, you know. It's all free money, isn't it? So, right.
Can I just ask, while we're back on that slide?
Yeah.
The Go Paddling dashboard that you've all got. I'm sorry, I'm getting a terrible echo of my own voice. It's horrible. Hopefully you can all hear me. We are going to develop and add to that over the remainder of this year with the other national associations, so that it's more usable, so you can put some to adhere to that you'll need. Finding out exactly which safeguarding, for example, everyone's got. And we're hoping that we're going to be able to use that as a venue for you to make those documents online when you have to have them thereby as well for your club. That's all in the background work at the moment that we're working on. And then through this continued consultation that Lydia's going to run with you all, if you have real problems finding the correct qualifications that you need, we can look to facilitate and help make those courses run for you, should we need to. There are a lot of fantastic providers in Wales, and hopefully you can use them and most of them are super flexible to be able to come to you and run a qualification that you need.
Okay, sorry, I was just advised to turn my mic off because that was apparently what was causing the echo, so I will turn it off again in a second. So now we are going to open questions. I think, Andy, you'll go through any in the chat box first, and then if we can operate either a hands up on your screen, if you can find where to put that on, or just put your hand up in real life. We've still got quite a lot of time, so we hope to get through as many questions as we can, but don't forget we are still here after tonight. This isn't just a one-off deal. So I'm just going to stop sharing now.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording as well.